The Shroud of Turin is touted by the Christian faith, and more specifically the Catholic Church, as being arguably the best piece of evidence for not only Jesus Christ being a real person in history, but also the best evidence for his crucifixion and resurrection. And here's how we know it's a hoax. The first time the Shroud of Turin is ever seen and spoken about is in 1354, when this guy, a Knights Templar named Geoffrey de Charnay in Lorraine, France, suddenly turns up one day with it. Geoffrey had the shroud in hand until 1356 when he died in battle, and that's when the Catholic Church obtained the shroud and kept it under lock and key for hundreds of years and is still to this day not available to public view. Now, in 1988, radiocarbon dating was done on the Shroud of Turin by 3 independent laboratories across the world, which unanimously determined that the Shroud of Turin was more than likely created between the years 1260 CE and 1390 CE. In case you missed it, that lands the creation of the Shroud of Turin during the time that Geoffrey was alive. So this here is forensic anthropologist Matteo Barini. And this is chemistry professor Luigi Garlascelli. These guys did an experiment with the Shroud of Turin where they took a live volunteer as well as a mannequin and they laid an example shroud over the example people and they tried to see how the blood would flow from a person onto a supposed shroud. And their findings came back inconclusive. They found that they were unable to replicate even relatively close to what the actual Shroud of Turin's blood splatterings are, and they published these findings in the Journal for Forensic Science in 2018, where they are still available to the public today. Now, this image that you see on the Shroud of Turin is not visible to the naked eye. In fact, we didn't even know that it was there, supposedly, until 1898. And that's when amateur Italian photographer Secondo Pia took a negative photograph of the Shroud of Turin to see if anything would come up from it, and that's when he got the famous person in the shroud. Could Secondo Pia have faked the image? Absolutely, but there's no way for us to ever know. So with the combination of the ambiguity of the Shroud of Turin, as well as the forensic evidence and the historical evidence going against the Shroud of Turin actually being created during the time period that Jesus would have even existed, this is how we know that the Shroud of Turin is a hoax.